And we, in closed session, there was no action taken. We gave direction and reviewed negotiations, collective bargaining sessions for PGTA and CSEA. And we will now have the Pledge of Allegiance. You can, as usual, mute yourself, please, and we will, I will lead it off. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, so our, let's see, we only have one item tonight, just so you know, everybody that is online with us. This is a regular meeting though, so we will go through our communications. Board, I have our communication this last, I think it's only been a week. We have received a few emails regarding distance learning and some challenges there, and we received some information regarding a readathon that's happening. Anything else, board, that I missed?
I don't think so. I think you got them all, President Crandall.
Okay, thank you. Board member comments. I'll defer to the agenda tonight. Christy, any comment?
Not at this time, thank you.
Okay. John Paff?
No, thank you.
Brian?
No thanks.
Okay, we're going to be a quiet bunch tonight, I think. And John Walton will not be with us. Superintendent report, Dr. Porras.
Thank you, Madam President. Actually, for today's meeting as a one-item agenda, no comments directly other than just simply let the board know we are continuing to work on our distance learning and continue to make improvements as we can. We're receiving communications from parents and trying to reply in a timely fashion, and looking forward to working with the board on October 1st in regards to the next steps on our plans. So.
Great, thank you. Okay, PGUSD staff comments, non-agenda items. If you have any, go ahead and raise your hand. See none. Okay. Okay, we'll come back to the board here. Individuals desiring to address the board. Any items of interest to the public will be heard. Comments may be limited to 3 minutes with a total time of 20 minutes per agenda item. Public comment will also be allowed for each agenda item prior to board action. This meeting is a business meeting of the board conducted in public. Please note the Brown Act limits the board's ability to respond to public comment. The board may choose to direct items to administration for future agenda. Any member of the public would like to address the board, please go ahead and raise your hand by clicking the participants icon, and you should be able to raise your hand. Jung Hwa Kim, go ahead. There you go.
Thanks so much. And thank you for all of your work on distance learning. I know it's a challenging thing. It's very complex. And I encourage the district to consider re-imaging personal computers as a possibility. That is, we'd like to buy a Chromebook that suits our son, as other students in other districts have done, and request that it be re-imaged with the PGUSD vetted software. If that's a possibility, we would greatly appreciate your consideration. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Seeing no other public comment, I'm just pausing for a minute in case there are any other public comments come up. Okay, I'm seeing none. I'll bring it back to the board. Again, I want to apologize. Gabby, I left you out of the board comments. Where are you?
Sorry, I'm getting my
you
computer
are.
from a different one that doesn't have a video camera, but I'm here. I'm present.
I see you now with a little yellow around your icon. I'm used to seeing your nice background and your cute face. So did you have any board comments you'd like to share with everyone?
Well, this is a little delayed, but just a brief update from the high school. A few weeks ago, we had our virtual club rush, and that was a success. So we're trying to keep things as normal as possible to ensure that the students still have their extracurricular commitments, even though it is a little bit of a weird time right now. And I'm also currently working on a smaller committee within ASB that's working on welcoming new students to the district and helping them feel more involved despite the kind of weird situation right now.
Nice. That's nice.
Great. Thank you very much, Gabby, for that update. Okay. We are now on to our one and only action item, which is the approval of the learning continuity and attendance plan. This presentation was given to the board in full on last week. And that was a hearing. So we are required to post the hearing and then allow a certain amount of time, and then it has to be approved by a certain amount of time as well. That's one of the reasons we're having this meeting for this item on this date. So for public, we have 37 participants. So Ani, if I could ask you to summarize the presentation, and then if we have any questions from the public, we can go from there. I don't think you have to do the full presentation. However you'd like to handle it is fine with me.
Okay, thank you. Director of Curriculum and Special Projects, Ani Silva. Yes, so last week, I presented the plan, and really a summary of the plan would be it's the state's requirement for us to address how we are addressing the COVID impact on our students and our staff, how we are what our plan is in place, whether we are in a distance learning capacity or in an in-person capacity. And the bottom line around both of those is how are we addressing pupil learning loss, what strategies we have in place to address those, how are we addressing social emotional component, not only of our students, but also our staff? How are we addressing our tiered re-engagement for students who are not participating in distance learning? Because that's a big issue. Distance learning is comprised of synchronous live instruction with the teacher, as well as asynchronous. And so what interventions interventions do we have in place for those kids who are not turning in assignments? And how are we addressing that? The state has required us to have a weekly participation report. And it's for that purpose that we're not allowing students to fail because they didn't turn in an assignment. We are reaching out not only to the students, but to their families to find out what might be some barriers for those students. And the plan addresses our nutrition component, like what are we doing to meet the needs of students, whether we are in a distance learning or in a face-to-face, all the while keeping safety at a forefront for everything that we do. So that's pretty much, yeah. And finally, how are we meeting the needs of our most targeted students? And that comes the increased or improved services. And that's the component of LCAP, because those are the students that typically we need to do over and above, improve or increase our services to make sure that they have access to the same instruction and supports that they need in order to be successful. So that's
a good summary. Thank you. As I mentioned, this plan is online. Well, I don't know if I mentioned it, but it is online, available for the public to view, as well as Director Silva will be submitting this now, right, to the county.
Yes.
And
yes.
then it will be approved, no doubt, because there's been a lot of work and detail put into this. Board, do you have any additional questions or anything? Christy?
Well, it's very impressive reading through it a couple of times now, the amount of work you put into it, the thoroughness. And I really am happy with the transparency of everything, because I think it's so difficult for the families and the community as a whole as we try to navigate this time. So to see it laid out and addressed in writing, very impressive, and so much work for you. So thank you, Ani, for a great job.
Well, I thank you, Christy, but I would like to acknowledge this is a team effort. You know, our all of our administrators were involved in the creation of this plan. So yeah, this is a work of all of us.
And thanks all the way down to everybody and every single thing they're doing. You're totally right.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Christy. John Path, anything?
No, no. Thank you. Thank you, Ani.
Okay.
Thank you.
Brian?
I don't have any questions, only praise for everybody that was involved in it. It's remarkably thorough, and I would urge anybody who isn't part of day-to-day business with the district to take some time and to go through it, because as you do too, it serves as not necessarily a reminder, but again, for the people that are not in this business, it's like all of the things that go into the work of teaching our kids and keeping them safe. There's just so much, and a lot of it you don't realize until you read that. It's like, oh, of course, this and this and this. So thank you, Ani, and to the entire team, because again, this is something new, and hey, guess what? We need this, and we need it right away, and you guys delivered. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Do we know, is this going to be under policy online for those that want to view? Do we know where on the website?
Yes, the county office has told us that we have to put it on our front page. It has to be
Front
like
page.
very busy. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And I have to say that I have not received any questions whatsoever, because that's the intention, is that, you know, if people have questions, that they email me or Dr. Porras. I have received no questions whatsoever. So
Okay.
yeah. So
Great. So anybody that wants to view it should not have to dig. It'll be right on the front
right.
page.
Yep.
And also we'll have a, Mandy, are we going to have a board update tomorrow as well?
Yeah.
Email go out?
Is that what you mean, the snapshot?
Yeah, the snapshot. That's what I meant. Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you. So since this is the only item, it will definitely be on there. Okay, thank you. We'll now open this up for public comment. If there's any questions or comment that anyone would like to make, even staff, if you want to have, if you have a comment. Carolyn Swanson.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for letting me comment. I wasn't sure if I would have a chance to comment on this tonight, because I know we did a public hearing for it. And at that time, I hadn't had a chance to read through this. So guess what? I do have some questions. So I've got three main questions. And from my understanding, this LCAP is kind of like a temporary LCAP. It's not our traditional LCAP, and it was kind of something that had to be created and quickly and is due at the end of this month. Is that correct?
yes, that is absolutely correct. And it's funny that it has the same acronym as LCAP, which is funny. The state didn't intend that. But yes, it is intended to be sent to our county office by September 30th is the deadline. And then what they will do is that they will review it, and then they will submit a response to our board. I believe it's by October 15th, or yeah, I believe that's the date. But don't quote me on that just in case I've got it wrong. And then if they have any recommendations or suggestions, then the board needs to respond to them in writing.
Okay, so if I have questions that do create some sort of change in the document tonight, then there's still time for that to happen. Is that right?
It would have to happen right away because I have to submit to the county by September 30th. And so that's very quickly. And it would have to be something that that the board would approve.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? So yeah.
Okay, so I've got 3 questions then for us to ponder, I guess. So I was reading about the live tech support that's offered to teachers, parents, students. It's called live real-time tech support. And my questions tonight are coming from my own experience. So I realize there might be something broader that I've missed. But for me personally, I don't have a live real-time way to access any tech support. I have to follow the trouble ticket on the website and get a response back. So I'm also unsure how accurate this document needs to be, or if it can be these broad strokes that maybe I've misunderstood. So that's my first question.
Well, I will encourage either Matthew Binder or Director Binder or Director Mejia to speak to that.
Okay.
So what live tech support is intended to be.
I'm
Sure.
unmuting them as we speak.
Good evening, everybody. Matthew Binder, Director of Ed Tech. That is in reference to what is currently taking place at the high school and has been actually now for several weeks with Radonna Johnson, the high school tech, who was kind of a pioneer in offering this service to not only her staff there, but to anybody, including parents and students. During the school day, she keeps an open Google Meet session running continuously for several hours every day. And that has proven to be quite effective in supporting basically all end users, all technology end users at that site. We have since then, within the last couple of weeks, actually expanded that to kind of a pilot approach for the elementary level as well, to include the techs at both Forest Grove and Robert Down, providing an open session at a dedicated point in the day, usually during the most busy time, which is when students are logging into their morning distance learning session. So that has now kind of, I believe, has been occurring for essentially the last couple of weeks, maybe a week and a half. And we are looking at the results of that, how active those sessions are, and what the feedback is going to be on those. And we should be learning quite a bit more about that. And I believe the middle school is also moving in that direction as well.
Okay, there were some things when I was reading it, I was wondering about the timeline. If the timeline of the document was supposed to span from March when the crisis learning happened, or if it's just supposed to be in the past few weeks. What's the time frame of this document?
So the time frame of the document encompasses, it's a reflective document because it asks us to reflect on what happened in March when schools closed, what we learned from those experiences, and how did we use our stakeholders to develop a plan moving forward. So this is actually a very fluid plan because, you know, I mean, even some of the things that we wrote in here, we anticipate are going to work, but it's always evolving. So like, for example, just even what Director Binder explained, I mean, we're always improving and we're making things better, but it's not like we're not required to go into the plan and say, oh, and now we've added this. Oh, and now, you know what I'm saying? So
Sure.
it's a snapshot in time, but like the LCAP is a snapshot in time, but we're always, you know, we're always, it's a live, it really is it's capturing a live process. That's not just like, this is it and that's all we're going to do. We're always evolving when it comes to supporting students and parents as we're learning what's happening in this, you know, in this COVID world, you know, and we're adjusting.
That makes sense.
And listening to our stakeholders along the way.
One thing I'd like to add to that is that we are also working along with a program out of the adult ed school site to bring on 2 more tech support positions that will be dedicated particularly to helping parents learn the technology and how to navigate the technology so that they can and then in turn support their students at home as well. So we are working actively with Principal Martinez on this so that we can get that up and running as soon as we can.
That's right, Jonathan. Carolyn, as you know, we've started this program last year, K-12, supporting students for their own success, working with parents, bringing parents together, our parents' place parents and our preschool parents and our elementary and middle and high school parents together to support students so that they can be successful. And when this came out, this whole distance learning plan, we knew that parents were going to need some support. Being at home with multiple kids of different ages, elementary, middle, and high, all in the same house, all distance learning at the same time. We supported families with furniture and desks and chairs so that they could set their children up to be successful in their homes if they needed it. We recognized that parents are going to need help with logging on and getting kicked off. Too many people trying to log on to the network at this time. There's going to be problems. Met with our district, our administrators, and technology, and looked at the ticket system, which is quite extensive. And I saw the list of parents today that really could use some support. And so, yes, our district is going to hire 2 tech assistants just to help support families so that the techs at the sites can help support their teachers. So that's going to be a good thing for as long as they need it.
Okay, so the live real-time tech support for all sites that's listed in the LCAP isn't exactly true right now, but we're hoping in the future we'll have tech support live real-time for all sites. Hear it?
No, I would say
it's,
that
it's true from what Director Binder, go ahead. Sorry, Mr. Binder, go ahead.
Well, I was also going to submit that, to the extent that it is near real-time support, the techs are, including myself, Coordinator Mejia as well, have fielded calls and emails during the school day from parents. As a matter of fact, from you directly, Ms. Swanson, I have responded to several emails in close to real time as could possibly be. The bigger point is, what is the factor of delay from the point of inquiry to the point of support? And really, I would really offer that it is very minimal. When we combine all of the tools that we have at our in our disposal right now, we are, I think, responding in a very, very efficient manner to almost all of the support requests that we get on a daily basis.
Okay, thank you, Director Binder. My other question is, so this summer for summer school, specifically for ESY, the district had a lack of staffing. I hesitate in saying that you failed to hire staff because I don't know exactly what happened with the staffing for the speech and the OT, which are considered related services for the IEPs for all the kids in special ed who happen to qualify for those related services. And the summer school began and we didn't have those services. I was hoping to see that in this LCAP document, mostly because I feel it's important to document it, because if the district later needs to ask for assistance, we can show that we did struggle in some areas. It's not really to put blame on anyone, but it's more to just document accurately, not things that we're hoping happened or make it sound like this has just been so smooth and we've worked so hard, but also to say, hey, we failed here and we could use help next time. So forgive me if this is not something appropriate for this document, but I was hopeful that it was going to be in there and I didn't see it.
I would say that it is not appropriate for this document. When a district is not able to provide related services due to staff shortage, we followed the exact proper, we notified parents, we sent out each parent a prior written notice. I'm working with our speech therapists and our OTs to develop their compensatory plans. And as we look at what we are able to do, we will contract out to bring in extra help to make up those sessions. So right now we're doing the calculation of what we owe each of our students. And so this is a pretty typical process. We've had to go through this before when we've been down staff. And so this is following the procedures required of special education when we need to provide compensatory. But I do not see in any way that it has anything to do with this plan.
Okay, yeah, I think I have misunderstood the LCAP thing because I thought it was supposed to be a snapshot story of what our district has done and endured during this time. So I
And
guess
it's not called the LCAP. It's the learning continuity accountability plan
and attendance plan.
And it is a plan. So as we were brainstorming together as administrators of how can we make things better, it's a plan of what we can do immediately and what we need to put in place. So it's a continuity plan. We will continue to improve for our students and our faculty and our families.
Right.
Thank you, Director Davies.
Yeah.
Ms. Swanson, did you have another question? We do have other people with their hand up. Did you have one more? You said 3?
You know what? I'll give my time to them. I'm sorry, I didn't realize other people were waiting. Thank you.
Well, if you have just one more, it's fine. I just wanted to check.
I do have one more. So I was reading another plan from another district, and they did some really great documenting where they listed the parent engagement sessions that they had. I noticed there was that historical aspect of the document that ours just kind of said, well, we did have parent engagement and we met several times, and the other district actually spelled out for each site. And I remember parents and myself wishing there was a list of kind of those documents, those meetings, in the document, just to kind of reference and be more accurate instead of just having a broad statement that said, we did a lot of parent engagement during this time. That's my last one.
Well, I don't know how that is not making it accurate, but Director Silva, did you have anything in addition you want to add to that?
Well, I have to tell you that as a county, we met a lot to discuss this plan. The plan template came out August 1st. And this is brand new. Even the state has been unsure in their delivery as to what they are requiring in the plan. And so therefore you have a wide variety of what a plan might look like, because we don't have an exemplar plan, right? And so when discussing it with the county, who will be and they're not really the approvers. They pretty much have to make sure that we are addressing all of the prompts, okay? And when we asked, do we need to list each and every single one? And it was like, you don't, because you don't have to list every single meeting that took place. And so, and we do have all of those task force and all that is already on our website to the best of my knowledge. So, yeah, so it was not a requirement. And yeah, however, in our plan, we identify by grade spans, elementary, middle, and high school, and other plans don't do that. So, I mean, it's, it's just, it was not a requirement to list them specifically. I mean, and I did already have our plan reviewed ahead of time, just to be sure that I was addressing all the prompts, making sure that we were being transparent to our public, to our families and our community. And I was told that this was fine. So, I mean, but we could go back and add all the dates. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
I think you're good the way it is presented.
Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna go to the next question. Jung Hwa Kim, and I apologize if I'm saying your name wrong. Go ahead.
Oh, not at all. Thank you, President Crandall. And I was just kind of wondering how all the parents were in PGUSD were informed about the new learning continuity and attendance plan. That is wonderful, I'm sure. And will the announcement about the new plan be included at the top of tomorrow's or the latest PGUSD communication, requesting immediate concerns,
Yes.
comments and questions?
Yes,
Yeah.
it will be on the board meeting snapshot tomorrow email,
Thank
and
you.
it is online now on the front page. So when you go on there, it's on there as well.
I see it at the bottom. So one question I have, this is just a tiny point, it's not a big point. Whenever there's new information, it would be great to have it at the top or as a pop-up rather than having to scroll down the screen, especially for new parents. Regarding the curriculum, I'm curious about how YouTube and free software and classroom instruction is included as part of the curriculum, because PGUSD curriculum, of course, is vetted very carefully. And this is a concern for parents who use parenting controls and apps, in addition to the Chromebooks that are vetted by PGUSD. So I have been in conversation since March with the tech team, which is working very diligently on this. And I know that things are evolving. And, that's, I guess, a concern and a question about where does the curriculum come from? How is it vetted? Will parents be involved with it? That kind of thing. And then my third question is to thank and appreciate the fiduciary and fiscal excellence of Assistant Superintendent Songchin Ben Dib and the PGUSD board regarding all of our curriculum and Chromebooks. Thank you for conserving our resources. I'm just kind of wondering, because our son is very tech savvy and dislikes the old Chromebooks that may be going obsolete soon, because the screen size is too small, it's not pixelated enough, the keyboard is too clunky. There's a lot better Chromebooks out there for him that we can purchase personally and hopefully have vetted by PGUSD if they will consider re-imaging it. Why are the current new purchase PGUSD Chromebooks not available, or would PGUSD consider making them available in the near future? Those three questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So the first question was answered, right, about the website and as far as putting it in the top versus the bottom. So we can look into that. I know that we're required to post certain things, so we can look into that option. Second question, Director Silva, I'd ask you if you could address the curriculum question as it relates to this document.
Right. Well, it's really not listed in the document because, teachers, use, they could use YouTube videos. Teachers, let me just say this, teachers have the right to use supplementary materials to the core curriculum that's adopted by the board in order to enhance instruction. And so we trust our teachers' professional judgment. If a teacher chooses to use a video to support instruction, that the teacher has vetted that video, and typically our teachers are loading those videos or whatever they want their students to watch in their Google Classrooms. So that, as far as there isn't a committee that sits down to say, oh, we're gonna look at all of the videos that the teachers are using. It would be impossible. It just would be impossible. But teachers have always had the right, and it is in our board policy, that they have the right to use any supplemental materials that they deem fit to support instruction. So, so bottom line, we trust our teachers' professional judgment.
Yeah, of course.
Not to be sending students to, something that is inappropriate.
Of course, and I trust the teacher's judgment as well. And I think that's why the curriculum is deferring to their discernment. I was just kind of curious because there's so many different apps, so much, software that's proliferating for parents to be the monitors of digital citizenship and enforce that with their students. The onus is on us. So that can be a very overwhelming task unless, the software is completely vetted by PGUSD. That's why. And going back to the first question, just before we leave that, how were all the parents in PGUSD informed about the new plan?
Well, this is a public hearing. It was a public hearing. So 72 hours before, that's the law, a posting is done online and at the sites that telling the parents that there will be a public hearing on the learning continuity and attendance plan. That plan is posted online and allowing parents to have the 72 hours to view the plan. And then at the public hearing is when we open it up to the public. I presented the plan. And then that's when the public has the opportunity to ask the questions, to make their comments. And then after that presentation, they have until today, let's say, to have asked questions or comments written to myself, to Dr. Porras, and we would have responded in writing to any and all parent comments and questions. And that didn't happen. So we followed the law by telling the public that we had a plan available for them to.
Thank you. And may I ask just a quick question about that, because I wasn't aware that the 72-hour, special announcement was made. And if nobody has responded, that's a concern to me. I just want to make sure that everybody had a chance to participate in terms of reading it and responding. So thank you very much for making sure that happened.
Yeah, and the third question you have, I'll address it briefly, but it's not part of this document. So this is the Chromebook question you had, is that if you have, we have the new fleet of Chromebooks. We've discussed that a couple of meetings ago in depth, and that's all online too. You could read back to the history and watch the meetings. But if you do have a problem with your current Chromebook, you could submit that ticket and talk to one of the tech team, and they could give you a new one if the one you have isn't working properly at all.
Thank you so much for reiterating that, President Condon. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you for your questions. Okay, next up is Katrina Mcfarland.
Hi, everyone. A parent of a 6th grader and a junior at the high school. This is a comment, not really a question. It was brought up at the last board meeting, I believe. I think it's imperative that we have parent and student surveys go out on how distance learning is going, specifically for the high school. Principal Roach sent one out a couple of weeks ago, which I greatly appreciated, and we filled that out. But I have yet to have got one from the high school, nor has my student gotten one. And these kids are very savvy, and I feel it's imperative that they be part of this conversation. They need to give you the feedback of what is working and what is not working. Aside from my opinion, it is vital, especially at the high school level, that these kids have their voices heard. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Madam President, if I may.
Yes, Dr. Porras.
Just as a quick response. We're in the middle of designing those surveys right now, and we're also trying to incorporate some other survey questions that are more relevant to the current times and conditions of the COVID data. So in fact, we've already ran through a rough draft on those surveys for students and for staff. So they should be coming out soon.
Thank you for that detail. Okay, I'm not seeing any other public comment, but I'm just going to pause for a second here, just in case. See if anybody's physically waving their hand. Okay. Not seeing any more comments. I'll bring it back to the board. Thank you so much for all that detail and both presentations. I will just go ahead and ask the board, as we normally do, if there's any additional questions. If not, I'll look for a motion. Christy, did you have anything additional?
No, not at this time. Thank you, Debbie.
Okay, John Paff,
No, thank you.
Brian.
I have none, so I think that's it, right? So I think I could make a motion for the approval of the learning continuity and attendance plan, unless you
Yeah,
want.
you can, but let me ask Gabby if she has anything to.
I'm with you,
Gabby,
Debbie.
do you have anything that you'd like to add or, provide a comment or suggestion on this item?
No, I don't really have anything. I do remember doing a few surveys at the beginning of the year.
Okay.
It may not necessarily been the entire complete thing, but I do remember, at least in my science class, maybe a few others, some questions about how we were handling the distance learning so far. But that was definitely at the beginning. I think now is a good time to reevaluate going into the second quarter.
Great. Thank you. Okay. I believe, Brian, you made a motion. Do you want to actually?
Second it.
Okay. I have a motion to approve the learning continuity and attendance plan by Brian Swanson. I have a second by Christy Dawson. Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Crandall,
Aye.
trustee Dawson,
Aye.
trustee Paff,
Aye.
trustee Swanson.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Student representative.
Aye.
Thank you. It's okay. Well, I don't want to forget her. Thank you very much. That passes 4-0. Okay. Well, thank you again, Director Silva and Davies and all of the below and above for all of that and all the work that you've done on that. We look forward to hearing the success that I know you will get. Thank you. Okay, and as mentioned, that is our only agenda item. We will have another meeting on October 1st, which is also a regular meeting, which is next week, in case anybody's like me and losing track of time. And so we will be discussing a lot of different other things, but definitely we'll be discussing the distance learning plan and where do we go from here. Okay, so if that is everything, I guess we will go ahead and adjourn the meeting. Dr. Porras, did you have anything else before I adjourn?
I appreciate you asking. Thank you. No, other than again, just a very big thank you to the entire admin team for their work on the plan, and particularly under Ani Silva's leadership. It really was a lot of work under a very condensed period of time, and just very proud of the whole group. And thank you, the board, for taking the time to review it, as well as the public. And I also look forward to the next steps, and we will see everybody next week.
Great.
Yes.
Okay. Meeting is adjourned. Everyone take care. Thank you for all your hard work, and we will see you on October 1st.
Great.
Bye.
Be healthy.